Boruto episode 71, The Hardest Rock in the World. So this episode, once again, going along with the character filler episodes, was actually a pretty good one. I enjoyed this one much like I did the last one. I still think I like the last one a little bit more, with the whole Metal Lee, Rock Lee guy situation, but this is really cool. This one seems like it's actually leading into what could be a main arc, based off of what I read as far as like some comments from other videos. It's still filler stuff, but I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what we get out of these next couple of episodes, or depends on how it all ends up playing out, if it's just the next one or next couple. But I really enjoyed this one. It was very subtle, and it's really going to be the next episode that kind of kicks things up with the whole Mitsuki storyline. But I like what they teased in this. It was a very simple episode, and they kind of did what I thought. There was like pretty much half the episode was kind of the filler stuff where the kids were walking around with the former Kage, and even that stuff was still pretty entertaining because it's them going through this process of them figuring out Naruto's riddle, where it's like, my dad asked me this question, and it's, what is the hardest rock in the world? And so it's like this puzzle to figure something out. I knew it was going to be something about like the future or whatever, it's like the Will of Fire type thing. So I was like, it's going to be something that I don't remember, because I don't remember that coming up in the series. But it's also a billion episodes for the show, so it's like I don't remember the character or the old guy ever saying that. But it was cool. We have the five Kage as well as some of the older Kage. They're talking about what's going on with the Otsutsuki clan and the one guy who escaped, and Sasuke going after him, and them trying to figure out, well, what do we do next? They're considering this just happened. It's easy to assume that there's other members from the Otsutsuki clan that are gonna drop in from space, or wherever they live, and try to wipe out our planet and try to kill us off again. So it's like, all right, that's pretty cool. They're talking about it. It doesn't really go anywhere. It's kind of, that was actually more the filler stuff than anything else, really, because they kind of just talked about it, and then it was basically like, well, no need to really freak out because we don't actually know yet. So let's hope it doesn't happen, and then when things get more conclusive, then we'll figure out whether or not we should be panicking and stuff like that. So they kind of just talked about it, and then that was really it. Not much to it. And then the other half was the children kind of figuring out this quiz, and then really just taking they'll do it around. But they get to see the particle jutsu, which is like, I think, the third time that's ever, like, that didn't really come up a lot in the series. Technically, such a cool power, but really only came up like maybe 4 times. He did the floating thing a ton, but the actual particle stuff, we only get to see that like a couple of little times. But saves somebody's life, and then he passes out. And this was another one of those moments where I was like, I don't think that was in Shippuden. I'm pretty sure it wasn't. But him talking about his grandson and stuff like that, I was like, I don't think that kid existed in Shippuden. But I could be wrong, because I really don't remember a lot of stuff about some of the side characters, especially them. Because when they showed the background stuff or the flashbacks, and he was like, he was my grandson, and they show him and the current Tsuchikage, and I was like, I was trying to remember. I was like, wait, was that his niece or something like that? Because I feel like she was related to him, and I like, as soon as I saw that flashback, I was like, oh yeah, I think she's actually related to him, and she was like his niece as a bodyguard, or like his great niece or something. And it just like hit me, and I was like, I'm pretty sure they're related, so maybe that's his actual daughter, but he's way too old for that to have. Well, he's not too old to have a young kid, but like the age difference is absolutely insane between him and the current Tsuchikage. Kurotsuchi, I could not remember her name for the life of me. I'm like, I know it sounds like Tsuchikage, like somewhere in there it sounds similar, but Kurotsuchi. And so I was like, okay, so they talk about his grandson who passed away, and they do reference the fact that it was after the war, because he mentioned, like, even with the five nations like coming together and being at peace, you can't always save lives. So I think that's a new addition to the series, and I'm curious how that's going to play out. I would assume it's going to have something, some relevance in the next couple of episodes, and maybe Ohnoki, will be like, hey, as the former Tsuchikage who also lost a grandchild or something like that, he'll be talking to Mitsuki. But I thought that was interesting. I was like, all right, that's a new character coming into play, and he's like a young child who died. So I feel like that's going to have some relevance fairly soon, sooner rather than later, because that seems like a weird plot point that'll be, for that to be huge, way down the line or something. So I think we'll see more of that in the next couple of episodes, whenever he ends up becoming a part of the resolution for whatever's going to end up happening with Mitsuki, who had an interesting storyline in this episode where he's going through the idea of his will and his determination to either follow his path that's been created for him, or really find out whether or not he's allowed to make his own path, if he even has free will. So I thought that was cool. He found out he could dream. They referenced the eating stuff again, where it's like, you're the one who said you randomly wanted to eat for some reason. So, they referenced that he's kind of starting to do his own things. And they really showed at the very end where he can't agree with what Boruto did. Like, the whole series has been like, if you're cool with it, I'm cool with it. I want to do what you want to do. And of course, all the comments were about him being gay, which I thought was super funny because it was really funny. It was like the way they were doing it. It was funny because it was kind of like the worst version of an obvious pairing that no one really cares for, and it was just super funny because it's like he's got nothing in his room but this random picture of Boruto by his bedside, and so he says stuff like when they go to eat and stuff, he's like, I want whatever you want, stuff like that. So it was super funny the whole episode where they're like making these like obvious connotations towards it, but it's more due to the fact that he's just trying to figure out his real path in life. Or even says when they talk about like the chicken and stuff, and it's like, well, what if I'm made to feel this way about you guys? I'm made to feel like we're good friends and stuff like that. And Boruto's like, well, we're not chickens, so it's cool. Like, this is naturally how you feel. But he has to figure out if that is really the case. And when they get to the end, he's kind of forced to not do something, because when they pick up the rocks, it's like, all right, well, there's 3 rocks and 3 people. And Boruto picks up his rock, Sadara picks up hers, and then Mitsuki reaches down and is like, well, I'm okay. Because it's kind of like there's really nothing to do. Like, either he picks something or he just does nothing, because he can't, just follow along with Boruto anymore. So I thought that was a cool little moment. And then, of course, we have him getting home, and they have, like, the sand. It seemed like sand. Like, somebody mentioned that it has to be the other character, because they made a reference to the fact that Sasuke mentioned, like, them traveling through dimensions and stuff takes way too much chakra to just do that all the time. So it was kind of a reference, like foreshadowing a little bit, that he's probably still close to the village somewhere. And so, the fact that it was like sand on the ground, which of course him fighting Gaara and the other dude whose name I can never remember, but the current Mizukage, he has some of Gaara's sand still that he, absorbed. So it made sense that it would be, like a little bit of sand on the ground. So someone believes that it's him that left the letter for Mitsuki, which I think would be really interesting. And also the fact that they kind of make it seem like it was Mitsuki that attacked the people, the guards at the front of the village at the end of the episode, because they show like the yellow lightning and stuff. And I was like, okay, well, that kind of makes sense, but also it seems super weird, because the whole point of his mission is to have him do his own thing. So I don't think it would be Orochimaru that did it, because that would be super weird. And not to mention the fact that we've seen them communicate before. He would have just sent a snake that said something instead of dropping off a letter, or a couple of pages, really, because when it was folded up and it was burning, it looked like it was a couple of pages. So I was like, all right, that's a lot of info. And then it kind of just cuts to him burning it up in the sink, and I was like, what is going on here? Like, what in the world is this letter? Who's dropped it off? So a lot of questions there. So I'm hoping we get some definitive answers in the next episode, but probably have to wait about 2, hopefully not 3, but maybe 2 episodes if they do another 3-episode arc deal. But I'm actually looking forward to this one. I like Mitsuki as a character, and I love the idea of him growing, because of just the way he was created as a character, where he's made as a clone, and the whole point is to kind of force his mind to go through this same test over and over again, until eventually he awakens the sage mode, and it's like, I'm gonna do whatever I want. Like, I'm not gonna follow my older clone, and I'm not gonna follow Orochimaru. I'm going to do what I want to do. And then he leaves. And so that's why he's in the village. So I'm looking forward to a lot of stuff from this next episode. I love the, honestly, I love the promo, because the music wasn't like the upbeat music. It was like really downplayed music, and it was dramatic. And it's them, it's just Boruto and Sadara talking about how they don't really know him that well. And it's like, maybe we never really knew his convictions and, who he truly was. So I like the idea. They did a great teaser for it. So I'm hoping the episode has that same sort of sense to it. So they at least think that he's the one that attacked people, or killed people, and maybe he did, and it's one of those things where it's like, because he's that weird character, he actually killed them. But it's like, well, I had to do it to do this, and instead of just knocking them out, he like actually killed them. So they have to find a way to get him to understand, like, even if you're trying to trick the villain or whatever, you still can't go that far, for your mission, your undercover style. So hopefully the episode is as good as the promo makes it seem, because I'm definitely looking forward to it. Get some answers on who left the note, why they left the note, of course, what the note says. It's a couple of pages long. So what did he find out that he burned away? And if that was him, because that's a super easy way to tease it, where it's like, oh, it's Yellow Lightning. That could also be his clone. Like, his clone easily could be coming back to get him. Something could have gone wrong with that. I highly doubt it, because the clone was like a full-grown adult, and he was going through the mission that Orochimaru made for the younger, Mitsuki. So I'm like, I doubt he would suddenly turn evil. So I don't think it's him. But they tease it with the Yellow Lightning for a reason. So a lot of questions for next week's episode, but I'm definitely looking forward to it. Enjoyed this one. It wasn't like super great, but it was good enough, and I know it's leading into some stuff that I'm definitely interested in. So I'm like, all right, decent enough episode. Went through the idea, and I felt like it was there enough with them talking about Mitsuki and the bedrock of your character, and he's even told, like, your bedrock is a little shaky, and it's like this thing, free will is kind of a little odd to me. So I'm looking forward to where we're headed. Hopefully it's good. Like I said, I like the promo, so hopefully I like the full episode. But of course, we'd love to know what you guys thought about this one, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts about it, your least favorite parts about it. And of course, going forward, I would love to know your predictions. Like, what in the world is going on with Mitsuki? What is the letter? Who dropped it off? Do you think it was the third guy from the Otsutsuki clan that escaped? Tons of questions there, so I would love to know your predictions on how it played out. I assume that this is filler stuff, but I could be wrong. This seems, based on where it's going, this seems like it could have actually been in the manga, because it seems like it has potential to go somewhere super cool, but I think at this point, we're still kind of in complete filler arcs and stuff, so either way, I hope it's good. But like I said, definitely want to know your predictions for where things are headed and what they're going to do with Mitsuki and all that stuff. And like I said, definitely want to know what you guys thought about this episode in general. So please put your comments down in the comment section below. And of course, thanks for watching.